Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. That's my little YouTube intro. Because I'll probably use this there too. Absolutely. To do the definitive WrestleMania tier list. Can't wait to argue with you guys about it. It's going to be fun. So, you see, we have all of them all the way up through 36. There are 36 here. And we are going to put them where they all belong. We are going to shove these things right where they belong on this list. Interesting one to start with here too. WrestleMania 2000. The only WrestleMania on this list, I believe, to not be numbered. Because it was the millennium 2000, the year 2000. In the year 2000. In the year 2000. Anyway. There's a lot of fun stuff on this card, but there is no match or even angle here that jumps out. That's true. The ladder match, the triangle ladder match. I totally blanked on that. Thank you. The TLC progeny. The thing that started it all. So that to me, and while the two-fall triple threat is a great wrestling match with Benoit, Angle, and Jericho, it's never creeped out. The two-fall thing was, I think, a little weird, and it never really, you never hear it mentioned in the same breath as some of these other classic, wrestling matches. The Hardcore Battle Royal is fun. There's some fun stuff on here, but as far as a standout Mania, it's just not. So I'm going WrestleMania 2000. I'm going to C. That's going in the middle. It's not bad. There's some fun stuff on here. Outstanding match in the ladder match, but that's it. WrestleMania 29. This is the second encounter from Cena Rock, right? This is the rematch. To be fair, the culmination of a 3-year cycle, one of the longest WWE bookings, arcs that they've ever done, especially at least in modern history, which I have to give them a lot of credit for. And it helps when Rock only shows up 3-4 times a year to promote it. It's easy to make it stretch a year or two when you're only coming in a couple times a year. But what else is on this card? Punk and Taker is on this card. Good match. It's not one of Punk's better matches. It's not one of Undertaker's better matches. It's good. It's good for both of them. But it's not at top tier for either one of them. They both had many far better matches. Hunter versus Brock, cool match. But again, I think it just middles. The best match on the card is Punk Undertaker, and like I said, that's not top tier for either one of them. I'm going to put it at a low C for now. I'm going to put other C's above it. Coming in, what is it? This is WrestleMania 31. So this is the first... No, this isn't the first one, because I was at 30 with NXT. So this one had a lot of cool things that happened. Miro on the tank, NWO and DX, Sting and Hunter. This had Ronda coming out, the Seth cash-in, and Lesnar and Roman, just chaos even before that. Bray and Undertaker, which was okay, but it was still just cool to see those two finally collide. Brody, the six-way ladder match. Orton Seth. This is a good one. This is a very good show. I'm going to put this at an A. WrestleMania 32, the next year. The biggest WrestleMania we've had in a long time, which is ironic because the show, aside from a few things, was very so-so. So we had Hunter and Roman in a desperate attempt to try and turn Roman babyface again. It just did not work. The ladder match was cool. Broski wins the IC title, even if it's only for 24 hours. Corbin debuting in the Andre Battle Royal too, which was pretty cool. AJ Styles WrestleMania debut for sure. Yes, the New Day Bootios entrance. Shane versus Taker Hell in a Cell. Aside from Shane falling off, which is all they wanted it for. That's the only reason they wanted that. It's because Shane wanted to jump off something. Sasha, Becky, Charlotte triple threat, which was pretty deep, was pretty good, and was a nice spot for them. It was kind of coming off that women's revolution kind of wave and everything like that. This is gonna go in the C. I'm gonna even put it above 29. WrestleMania 13. I got a little bit of bias on here. WrestleMania 13 is Chi-Town, baby. And Austin versus Brett. To many people, the best match in WrestleMania history. Here's where we have the issue, though, folks. Remember, we had this issue with WrestleMania 2000. Is this a one-match card? Yeah, what else happened on this show? This can't go S tier. 13, Austin and everything, give it a lot of cred. I would put it in the middle. I'm going B. It should be higher, but there's too much middling on that card. WrestleMania 1 gets an S tier automatically. It's the first one. It started everything. It was an experiment. They didn't know if the damn thing was going to work. And it turned into the biggest thing in wrestling. WrestleMania 22, also in Chicago. Again, I have a little bit of a bias for it. I was there live and in person. I was really pissed. At the stage design for this WrestleMania. They tried to make this goofy looking version of like the Sears Tower or the Hancock building, but it just looked like fake and plastic, and they put the screens behind it, but it was just like blocky and like lame as it was like, come on, like you could have done a Chicago skyline. You could have made that part of it instead of just making this big like bulky crappy rendition of the Hancock Tower. That being said, you had a pretty fun ladder match. Edge and Foley, another incredible match. This had the three-way, which was too short that Ray won, but Ray, Orton, and Angle, for a 9-minute or 8-minute sprint, it was pretty good. Mickey versus Trish was a really good match, controversial too. Oh, I want to say A. I'm going A, because I was there. WrestleMania 2 took place in 3 different locations: Chicago, New York, and LA. Not an amazing event. I can't give it an A. I think it's a B at best for a very interesting idea with a so-so card. WrestleMania, this is 34. This is 34, not 30, right? Yes, because here's 30. 34 was the WrestleMania I was on. Automatic S tier. Automatic S tier. I was on it. I don't care. WrestleMania 5. The Mega Powers implode. Again, another show where it's like, what else stands out from the card? I'm going with B. I'll move it up a little bit too. WrestleMania 6, Warrior. The coronation of Warrior. I think this is C. I'm not a huge Warrior guy. WrestleMania 7, Hogan Slaughter main event. The desperate attempt to play off the political times, the political strife of the time. So weird. Failed experiment. It's a D. WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace, baby. With the weird ass main event. Well, most funny Mania ever does not denote best Mania ever. WrestleMania 9 is F. We got to put a floor on this damn list. And WrestleMania 9 is that floor. WrestleMania 23, the Battle of the Billionaires. I was there live and in person, a few rows back. So this had Cena versus Michaels. This had Batista versus Taker. Trump's had Lashley versus Vince's Umaga. Money in the Bank, where Randy Orton's RKOing everybody, and Punk was in that one as well. Benoit MVP was on this one. Vince got his head shaved, which is goofy, but is pretty iconic at this point. I mean, it's a huge clip. And I was there too, so this is going B. I'll put it middle. This is going B. WrestleMania 25, home of arguably the best WrestleMania match ever, with Taker and Shawn. Shawn coming out from above, Taker coming from below. Entrances are phenomenal. That thing is unreal. The main event was Randy and Hunter. This did have Matt versus Jeff in a pretty entertaining, like, no holds barred match. Isn't this where JBL like retired after losing in 3 minutes to Rey Mysterio? Pretty close to a one match card here. Taker versus Shawn puts us at a low B. WrestleMania 30. What is this? 3. The first WrestleMania that I was technically on the card. Andre Battle Royal, baby, where Jinder Mahal stiffed me right in the gut, and I turned and went to Brody and complained about it in the middle of the Battle Royal. This had Roman versus Taker. This had Goldberg coming back. That's right. I forgot about this. Also had Randy Fiend, right? But it wasn't Fiend. It was just Bray Wyatt with the goofy projector from above. This also had the return of the Hardy Boys, though. The Enzo Amore in a ladder match, which is the most dangerous thing on the planet. Roller coaster stage was cool. Final Fantasy New Day outfit cosplay. AJ versus Shane. I don't like Shane in regular matches. There's not enough memorable on this card, though, unfortunately. Rollins and Hunter. That's true. Rollins and Hunter was the best match on this card, to be sure. But it doesn't save it. Despite the fact that I was there, this is getting a C. I'll stick it in the middle of C. WrestleMania 28, year two. Year two of the Cena Rock thing. The first meeting of the minds on these two. This had Hunter, Shawn, and Taker. That whole debacle. Jericho Punk. That's it. Jericho Punk. Which was good. The end of an era match was solid. Still not even my favorite Hell in a Cell match for sure. It's just not. I think this gets B. This gets a low B. WrestleMania 27. Edge's last match. I was in attendance at this one because this is the one where I worked at Access, actually. I was training in Tampa at the time at wrestling school. I wasn't even signed yet. So WrestleMania 27, the beginning of Rock and Cena, and overshadowed The Miz in his main event at WrestleMania, which kind of irked me. This also had Snooki. Taker versus Triple H was solid. Michael and Jerry. Oh, man. It's a D. I'm sorry. It just is. WrestleMania 26, Shawn Michaels retirement. Holy crap. Not as good as their last match, but it was his last match. This had Cena versus Batista, if I remember correctly. What do you call it? Randy, Cody, and DiBiase. Triple threat. This had Sheamus versus Hunter. This had Edge versus Jericho, which was solid. I think this is B. This is high B for me. WrestleMania 30, I think, is one of the most solid pay-per-views they have. WrestleMania 30 to me is S tier. I just think top to bottom. It was the first one I got to attend as a member of NXT. I think 30 is phenomenal. And the Bryan story in that whole night was incredible. WrestleMania 3, a show defined by a match and a moment. A match and a moment, ladies and gentlemen. The match is Ricky Steamboat and Macho Man Randy Savage. The moment, Hogan slamming Andre. Aside from that, the first really huge, 93,000 people, that was the record. Huge event and everything like that. Everything around it, though, was very so-so. Match and a moment. Where does that put it? B, we have a crowd of B tier. I think WrestleMania 3, for being what it was, I'm going to put it low A. Because that moment almost makes it S tier alone, kind of like the WrestleMania 1. You know what I mean? WrestleMania 4, however, the rematch. I don't know. Nothing here jumps out to anybody. We're going D. 4, and then, because we already did 5, I'm just trying to confirm. That's 8, right? This is 8. I'm going D. Another thing, it's a disappointment. It's a disappointment. WrestleMania X7. Arguably, what everyone always says is the best WrestleMania of all time. And to be fair, it's hard to argue. This had the gimmick battle royal too, so this is S tier. WrestleMania 12, also one of those shows. Shawn Brett, right? Another one of the arguable greatest matches in the history of WrestleMania. 12 is another one of those ones where there's not a ton going on around it, though. But it's a one-match show for the most part. I'm going C. I'm going high C, to be fair. I'm going to go high C because that match is a one-match show. WrestleMania, on the flip side of that, WrestleMania 11. What is WrestleMania 11 defined by? Chat, you're beating me to it. 11's an F. WrestleMania 14, the beginning of the Austin era. Shawn, the match, okay. Shawn fucked up the whole time. Tyson, huge. The Tyson thing, this is Attitude Era defined. Kane Taker was on the card, but even that match is okay. Chainsaw Charlie, yeah. Was the dumpster match on this show too? I'm going to go high B. WrestleMania 19. Everybody's telling me it has to be an S tier, I don't. There's so much good on this show. Brock versus Angle, aside from the botch, is great. Austin Rock, the finale, solid. Vince versus Hogan with the Ray versus Matt Hardy in a great opener. Jericho versus Shawn in a fantastic match. It's at least an A. I'm deciding whether it's an S tier. I'm going to put it just below 17 there. WrestleMania 10. Another pretty stacked card. This had Owen versus Brett. This had the Shawn Razor ladder match. And then it had Brett winning the title at the end. WrestleMania 10 is S tier. I'm putting it at the bottom. 10th anniversary. Brett Owen is crazy good. And then again, I love that Brett comes back out, wins the title. The ladder match is iconic. MSG. I'm gonna give it a S tier. WrestleMania 15. Austin Rock. First time. Heart of the Attitude Era. 1999. But in this one, there's nothing crazy. Yeah. This is very middling. I'm going to put it in the C. I'm going to put it right there. WrestleMania 24. Money Mayweather versus The Big Show. Spectacle of a match. Cena, Orton, Hunter, triple threat match. Edge versus Taker. The Money in the Bank ladder match is pretty good on this show. Flair versus HBK. Oh, God, I'm sorry I love you. I'm sorry I love you. It's such a moment, man. I need to rewatch this Mania too. I wasn't sure what was going to happen here. I thought it was going to be more forgettable, but like really looking at it, that's an A. 20, it's got a lot of cool stuff. 20, we've got Benoit and Eddie at the end. Benoit and Eddie, both world champions. Pretty freaking unprecedented for the type of company WWE was and all this stuff. Eddie and Kurt was great. The triple threat is great. Rock and Sock Connection reunion is good. They had the Cruiserweight Classic. They had Jericho versus Christian, which is good. Wasn't this Brock Goldberg with Austin as the referee? Cena winning the U.S. title. 20's solid. 20's an A. But it's below 24. 21. 21 is a lot of fun. Now, 21 is all about new era. 21, we see the crowning of Batista and John Cena as world champions. We have Eddie versus Ray in the opener, which is a badass match. We have the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. We have HBK versus Angle in another one of the arguably greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. And it's a shorter, succinct card too. It doesn't feel bloated. WrestleMania 21's getting an A. WrestleMania 18, with one of the greatest matches of all time and moments with Rock Hogan, WrestleMania 18's a B. Because outside of that moment, outside of that matchup and all that craziness, it's kind of forgettable. I want to give it more because of the iconic matchup, but man, I gotta go C. I'll give it the top of C, but I gotta go C. WrestleMania 35, first ever female main event, which is an incredible thing. Kofi winning the title, incredible thing. Also a kind of a first. A little bit of a bloated card though. Women's main event in Kofi Mania, I think alone put it over the top. High B. We're going top of B. And WrestleMania 36, last year's WrestleMania, and I'm sorry, Fiend and Cena was interesting. It was very interesting. And Taker versus AJ, a valiant effort in very trying times. I think it's going to be middle B. And that's it. That is it, folks. That is WrestleMania, the tier list. That's it, folks. That's my list. You can argue with me all you want, but it is sick in stone. Our floor is WrestleMania 9 and 11. And our S tier is WrestleMania 1, 30, 17, 19, 34, and 10. 34, if I wasn't on it, but if I'm being totally unbiased, it would probably be somewhere in the B's. I think it's solid, but yeah. Again, it's my freaking list.